Good morning, good morning, good morning, Radio Land. Good morning, City of Tucson. Good morning, everyone on today. Get up, get up, get up. Let's get pumped up. It is the Fresh Start Show with Dr. Holt. Listen, we're here every Saturday morning at 7:30 at 106 The Groove, and we are excited for this radio show. Listen, go get your favorite breakfast. You hear me say it every weekend on Saturday morning. Your coffee, your green tea, your cornflakes, your Cheerios, your Apple Jacks, Fruit Loops, whatever you like. Let's go. Let's get it. I need everybody to wake up. For it's the Fresh Start Show with Dr. Holt. Listen, Fresh Start is one of the most robust, comprehensive type of shows in the entire nation. There's really nothing like us out there in the nation, especially in the state of Arizona, in regards to our show that has our focus and our mission to have a show that really talks about the struggles of being incarcerated and the struggles with not only former incarcerated people go through, but also with current people. Current incarcerated people go through. And so listen, we have a show just for you, a show that talks about the issues, that talk about what being locked up look like, and what are the struggles that people who have been incarcerated are going through. And listen, there's no secret. I'm talking about everybody in the hood, everybody in our communities, people that I'm talking about everybody in our congregations at church, or rather if it's a synagogue or wherever it may be, or a mosque. Listen, I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about your son, your daughter, your nephew, your niece, your auntie, your father, your mother. All kind of people have had their entanglements in regards to being incarcerated. And so we're excited about this show that just really humanizes those that have made some bad choices and some bad mistakes. We're just excited to know that if you're still breathing, then you have a chance to get your life together. If you're still breathing, you have a chance to bounce back from your setback. If you are still breathing, I hope you're listening to me today, you have a chance to turn your life around. It's time out for any excuses. If your heart is still breathing and your lungs are still inhaling oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide, and you still have the blood running warm in your vein, and you have been blessed to be alive, you can turn your life around. And if there's any of my brothers and sisters right now that is currently incarcerated, listen up real good. You can be making a plan for your exit out of prison. You can be making that plan. That is absolutely up to you. Listen, my name is Dr. Holt. I'm the founder of Fresh Start International, and I'm the visionary of the Fresh Start Expo that we do every year, the huge event that we do every year at the Tucson Convention Center in Tucson, Arizona. Listen, our event is coming really quick. I can't believe it's already middle of July. Just in several months, we'll be right knocking on the door of the Fresh Start Expo. Again, I always announce it so you can know, get ready, get your family members, get your community members, get your church members. We need you all to come down and help people turn their life around. We will be at the Fresh Start Expo 2023 at the Tucson Convention Center on Saturday, October 22nd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you don't even have a babysitter, do not let that stop you from getting the help that you need. We will be providing free child care. Bring those kids, bring yourself, and let's help you get some things turned around in your life. We will have all the courts there. If you have a marijuana conviction, we were going to be helping you to get that expunged. If you have a felony, we're going to help you to get your conviction set aside. If you have not, you've been disenfranchised from voting because of the fact of your felony background, listen, good news is we're going to help you. We're going to help you to be able to get your voters' rights back. I know people haven't voted because they have a felony. They haven't voted in 10 years. They haven't voted in 20 years. There's some that have never voted in 30 years. No, voting is your God-given constitutional right. We want to make sure that you are getting those rights back restored in your life. Not only are we helping people who's been formerly incarcerated, but Fresh Start is focusing on people to prevent them from being incarcerated. So we're partnering with our Tucson City Courts, our Pima County Justice courts to help individuals who has outstanding warrants. If you got a ticket and you have a failure to appear, and more than likely you have a warrant, and you can't afford to be driving and getting stopped and pulled over in a traffic stop, because 9 out of 10 they run your tags and run your license, your warrant is probably going to come up, and they're going to have to arrest you. And you know how that goes. If you don't have anybody pick up your car, not only you get arrested, you get your car towed, and then your car sits in some towing lot, racking up fees on a daily basis. And then it's a struggle, number one, to try to bail out. Then number two, you got to try to get your car back, and your job can be in jeopardy. So we want to be making sure this does not happen to you. So we're going to be working with those who have these outstanding warrants to come down to the convention center. So we're going to help you to get those warrants squashed. We have already set up a partnership with our county attorney and city attorney, where we will not be doing any arrests at the event. So if you're wondering, like, man, I want to come down, but I really sure not trying to show up and be picked up and put handcuffs on me, that's not going to happen. We already created a partnership and understanding that, because especially all of these are misdemeanors, so there's no big pressure to be arresting anybody. Just come down to the convention center and handle your business. So again, come on down. We will be at the Fresh Start Expo, October 22nd, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Listen, we also have a fundraiser on Friday morning, on August the 19th. That is August 19th, on a Friday morning. It's a fundraiser breakfast, and this is where it helps us to raise money. We're going to raise money at the event, and how we do that is you can pay a $35 ticket for an individual, or you can purchase a table of 8 that can be for you and your agency or your business, your organization, or your church. That you can get a table of 8 for $250. And let's help seed into this vision to help people who have been incarcerated and help people from being incarcerated. Okay, so you'll be able to help out. That's going to be at the St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church in Tucson, Arizona. Just Google St. Andrew's and it pop up, and you have all your information. But you can be a part of this fundraiser. It's going to be at 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Yes, not p.m. This is a breakfast, not a dinner. So you will need to get up in the morning and get down to the fundraiser on August 19th on a Friday from 7:30 a.m. 7:30 to 9 a.m. Our keynote speaker will be our Pima County attorney, better known as Laura Conover. She's our chief prosecutor of our county, and she's going to be coming, and she will be our keynote for this event on August 19th. So it's going to be very, very dope. It's very special to have your county prosecutor be speaking in this space of a restorative justice and reentry approach. And so we're excited to have our prosecutor to be with us. And so we are excited about this event. There's some people saying, you know what, I really want to seed into this vision. I really want to fund this vision. I really want to pour some funds and some money and donate and contribute to this vision. Please do so. We now have a Zelle account, so if you just want to just send some money to us right now, you can by using my email, which will go to the Fresh Start account to help us. My email is Damond, D-A-M-O-N-D, at Damond Holt. That is D-A-M-O-N-D-H-O-L-T. That's my first and last name, .com. Damond at DamondHolt.com is my email. And so if you want to start zelling some funds that way, our organization will most definitely be so excited to receive those funds, so we can have the resources that we need to fund our mission to help people who have been incarcerated and to prevent people from being incarcerated. So that's going to be special. So we are excited for your partnership, and we're excited. This show is still looking for sponsorships. We're excited. We got one sponsorship, and we're looking about to get about 3 or 4 more. Listen, this is a very powerful movement. You will be funding, you will be investing, and partnering with one of the most robust radio shows in the state of Arizona. There's absolutely no show that is like the Fresh Start Show. We talk about the real issues about being in prison. We talk about the real issues about people not only being in prison, but what should their life look like? What should their life look like when they return out of prison? And so not only we're talking about it on the radio show, but we are being about it. We talk about it, we talk it, but we also walk it. We walk it by having our event, helping people who need these services the most. The Fresh Start event is a one-stop shop. You will not have to go to 20 different places to get the help that you need. We want to make sure that mostly everything that a person would need coming out of prison will be at the Fresh Start Expo, and then you can go from there. So we are excited for this event. We're excited about our August 19th fundraiser breakfast. So please come out, please support. We still got tickets that's available if you want to come to the breakfast and help us to raise the funds that we need to be a blessing to our city, to be a blessing to many families, to be a blessing to many people who have been formerly incarcerated. So yes, let's go. So let's talk about our episode topic on today, and we're going to kick off talking about private prisons. Yes, today, Fresh Start will talk about private prisons and the danger of these types of prisons being in our communities, in our nation, about private prison. Now, I'm not sure if you know that there's some people that don't even know that there are private prisons. You know, when you think about prisons, you know, you just think of a state prison, or you think about federal prison or maximum security prisons, things of that nature. But there are many people who did not know that private prisons actually exist. And for those that do or have heard of private prisons, many of you believe that, you know, because it's kind of new as a taboo in regards to the justice system. But many people, if you really do your research and your investigations, private prisons is nothing new. Just because you're just beginning to hear about it doesn't mean that it just began to start. Private prisons have been here for centuries. And I'm going to be talking about these issues of private prisons because number one, our nation just incarcerate way too many people, and a lot of the massive numbers that we see in incarceration today most definitely came from the 80s and the 90s in regards to the drug issues that we were having, drug abuse issues we were having in our communities, particular communities of color and poor communities. And we began to go with the slogan on tough on crime. And make me don't understand me. You know, when you have a lot of crime in the communities and crime in the city, you cannot invest, and a city cannot build its economy off of chaos. You can't build your city cannot, and the government cannot build and invest in the economy where there's danger and a lack of safety. So please hear my heart. So I'm not saying that when there's justified crime and where there's a lot of chaos, and most definitely we are all of a sudden having people ODing off of these drugs, then ODing off of crack and cocaine, the crack and cocaine epidemic, and many of our communities, poor communities and community of colors, most definitely got the bad end of the stick on some of these policies, 3 strikes you're out policies, mandatory sentencing policies. Most definitely we were just throwing people into prison as an answer. And so many politicians from Congress to presidents started going with the slogan being tough on crime. And it looked nice at the beginning. It looked nice on paper. The strategy and policies look nice on paper, but when we began to see how it drastically impacted our communities and drastically impacted the black and brown communities and poor communities, and we began to see the disparities and the disproportionalities that we were seeing, we began to start walking back and start looking at areas where we can have alternatives to incarceration and different levels of justice reform, and going back to questioning, should we tie down the hand of judges by only having limited options as far as sentencing, or should we allow them to have more flexibility to make judicial systems according to rule of law, with common sense. And so we had that issue just with public prisons, and then we began to see this influx of private prisons began to grow throughout our nation. And so as of right now, according to the U.S. data, we have 158 private prisons, and Arizona has 10 private prisons for the state. And so private prisons, pretty much, for, I'm sure somebody will say, well, what the heck is the difference between public and private? Well, public prisons obviously is run by directly through our government, whether if it's sometimes even how big the city is, may even have a city jail. Counties, obviously, our lowest level always had county jails going back to the beginning of the creation of our country and in the history of our country. But then we also had the state and federal prisons as well. But that was directly ran from our government. But then indirectly, there's something that began to grow, and that was private prisons through third-party contractors. And that was to help deal with many of the influx of incarceration that was going into prison, but do it at a cheaper cost. And so one of the big purposes is to build more prisons to confine criminals, but do it at such a cheaper cost. And there's most definitely some pros and cons, a lot of cons to that total industry. Now, the purpose again for private prisons was to build more prisons. That was number one. We need to lock more people up. And how do we do that quickly? How do we get the resources to do it? And how do we run it efficiently at this lowest cost? And so that was one of the big things for private prisons. But I don't think that we look at private prisons going way, 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 way back when, centuries ago, even with dealing with slavery. And private prisons used to be former plantations back in the day. If you check your history, we will find that many of the free black slaves would be sought after and criminalized for petty crimes, or sometimes no crimes at all, to have a reason to throw them back into prison and to put them on this convict leasing program. And they would, through the prison system, would have to pick cotton and tobacco and all of the other things that they did before emancipation. And so prisons have had a long history of just grabbing people and throwing people in jail. And most definitely, if you were from the community of color or poor communities, like even today, many people have gotten the bad end of the stick of the justice system. And so we know for a fact that private prisons is something that many now federal government officials, I believe it was even with President Barack Obama, wanted to close many of the federal prisons because we were using those facilities just to arrest people and throw them into jail and to fill up the prisons. And the more bodies that were incarcerated in these private prisons, the more money that the investors would make. So we were actually exacerbating the issue when it comes to justice reform, because if people can make billions of dollars and get rich and wealthy off the backs of people who are incarcerated, we're actually going in the wrong direction. And so there are many movements and different agencies and nonprofits and programs and projects that is fighting against the private prison industry. It is an industry that has not promoted health and wellness and safety and security to our communities. All we have done is just throwing more bodies into prison, creating all kind of petty crimes and ways to incarcerate people, to fill up these private facilities where many people are making billions of dollars. Listen, prison industry is a billion-dollar industry. That's not what they're telling you. Private prisons most definitely is a multi-billion-dollar industry, not just because of locking you up and incarcerating you, but private prisons also, along with public prisons, far as other services, far as pay phones, they make so much money off of that, and so many other services that they provide for people while people are being in prison. And so just think about the private prison industry, what the purpose of it, and the investors who are investing in it. And what we need to be doing is creating more innovative ways to keep people at home, create more innovative ways to reroute people who have made some bad choices, that have broken the law. If you have substance abuse issues, perhaps you should be getting the substance abuse issues, getting detox, going into a rehabilitation center and getting your life together. If you made bad choices and broke the law because of your psychosis or your psychiatric disorders, then perhaps we need to be looking at routing you to get help far as with your mental health issues. And we don't talk about this enough even in prison, but food affects your mood. And we don't really examine the diet and the nutrition that is very poor and maladaptive for those that are in prison. And we know, as a doctor, if I, spoke from the space of medicine and nutrition, when you are giving humans horrible food that lacks vitamins and fiber and lacks the different omega-3s that help regulate mood, and vitamin Bs and vitamin D3s, all of this brings down and keeps people dysregulated just off food. And we know the food that is in prison is some of the lowest levels of nutrition, and we wonder why sometimes they act like animals. Well, you treat people like animals, feed them like animals, behavior will be animal-like. But if we look in different spaces to make sure that they're eating more wholesome foods, we've seen so many times through science and through research, evidence-based research, on how moods have shifted, and there was better regulation mentally and emotionally when inmates were eating better quality of nutrition. So we just scratched the surface, and we will be coming back in the next few weeks to continue talking about these issues. But private prisons is most definitely something that we should be really putting our focus on, really understanding many of the cons and the negatives that come from private prisons, and the way that we fill up private prisons for people to benefit and make a profit is just unfathomable unto me. And so next week we'll be coming back talking about these private prisons. I'll be giving you more information about these things, but just know that if you have been incarcerated, whether if it's private or public, if you're still alive, you can bounce back. You can get back into the driver's seat of your destiny, and that's what Fresh Start is here. And that's why I'm excited to have this calling that I feel that God has placed on my heart to help individuals who have been formerly incarcerated. We're here to speak for you. We're here to advocate for you. We're here to encourage you, inspire you. If you're listening to the show while you are incarcerated and you are listening to it in real time, this is why we're here. We're here to motivate you. I'm here to pour inspiration into you, to inspire you, empower you, to have resilience and know that things will get better if you just keep working hard and keep focusing on the future. Listen, I'm running out of time. Remember, we will be having our Fresh Start event on October 22nd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Tucson Convention Center. Listen, you don't want to miss it. We need you there. Please also remember our fundraiser breakfast is going to be on August 19th. That is a Friday morning from 7:30 to 9 a.m. Laura Conover, our county attorney, who is our chief prosecutor in our county, will be our keynote speaker. Listen, we're looking to have a great time. You still got time to get tickets. You want to contribute and to the Fresh Start organization as a donor. How about you come and be a donor with us? How about you look into being even a monthly donor with the Fresh Start movement? You know, our mission is where everyone gets a new beginning. So that's why we're here. We want to make sure that people are getting a new beginning, and you most definitely your financial support will be a blessing unto us. So please look into partnering with us, working with us, supporting us as we are working to give everyone who have made a bad choice, everyone who have been into a county jail, a state or federal prison. We want to give everybody a new beginning. And so this is Dr. Hope with the Fresh Start Show. We're here every Saturday morning from 7:30 to 8, and we're looking to see you again on next weekend. Take care and God bless.